The real takeaway from last night's January 6th hearing could be summed up by saying pretty simply, don't mess with Liz Cheney. She learned from her dad, and last night taught a master's class in how Washington really works. She settled some long-running scores with Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, and got revenge, long-awaited revenge, for her father on Donald Trump. For all the talk about American values and rule of law and preserving the Constitution, politics is personal, often, and certainly was last night. Take Hawley, for example. Junior Senator of Missouri fundraises off of a picture showing himself showing solidarity with the rioters of January 6th. It's a famous picture with him like this. All right. His presidential ambitions rest on being a hyper-aggressive promoter of MAGA values and culture wars. He also once said of Cheney, this is somebody who has no support in her own caucus, who has hung her own members out to dry over and over. I think she is on an island. And for no other reason than she could. That's Hawley's words. Cheney eviscerated him last night during primetime hearings. The committee played video of Hawley sprinting away from the mob. The video proved absolutely nothing. There was no other reason to show the video, which we will show here shortly, than to embarrass Hawley. The footage will play in an endless loop of attack ads. Clearly, we don't have the video, even though it ran last night. Here's the lesson. Don't mess with Liz Cheney. She ran clip after clip of Kevin McCarthy, the House GOP leader who hopes to be Speaker. McCarthy iced Cheney out of leadership. She got her revenge. And let's not forget, Cheney is one of only 2 Republicans on the committee investigating and building a criminal case against Donald Trump. Liz Cheney gives the committee an incredible amount of significance in the media. She chose to be on that committee. She chose to be on the committee investigating the same Donald Trump who used her father, Dick Cheney, as a political punching bag for years. As we said, she learned how Washington works from her father. Of course, to Fox, President Trump's inaction on January 6th barely deserved coverage. Sham committee was the graphic on the right of the screen during the monologue, and CNN salivates over every minute of the hearings and then replies and replays and analyzes them for weeks to come. Hannity, sham committee, as you can see right there. We continue on. We, of course, take no position on the hearings themselves. We report what happens and then attempt to explain why what you are seeing is happening. Hence, Liz Cheney's masterclass. That's on point tonight. On that note, the committee just got their first real scalp, and in doing so, turned former President Trump's one-time chief strategist Steve Bannon into a Republican martyr. To understand Bannon's significance, the President of the United States spoke via video link because he had COVID. It was the first time we had seen the president since his diagnosis. At that very same time, 3:21 p.m. Eastern, the President of the United States, sick with COVID and in isolation, is speaking. CNN and MSNBC decided to take Steve Bannon on the courthouse steps. It shows you the wild space Bannon occupies in the left's brain.
Case, but a really important case, and I think the message has been sent moving forward that people better not play with congressional subpoenas anymore.
Mark Meadows and Dan Scavino did the same thing. They defied the subpoena. They provided no evidence. They left some of the gaps in the evidence that Nick was talking about, and they are walking scot-free. But better that somebody is held accountable than nobody.
When this coward wouldn't even come and talk to the committee or wouldn't testify in his own trial, and he kept saying to people he's going to go medieval. It's like he, brought a pool noodle to an axe fight.
Anchors could hardly contain their glee that he faces jail time for contempt of Congress. He refused to testify before the committee. A jury convicted him. He faces 2 years in jail. Colby Hall is here, founding editor of Mediaite, America's premier website for the news about the news. You think about Bannon, who has really little or no political significance right now. He's completely out. Why does he occupy this wild amount of fascination and obsession by so much of the national media?
Well, thanks for having me, Leland. I think since 2016, 2017, when the earliest, sort of whispers of the Steele dossier and Russia, there's many left-leaning media that have been really eager for a perp walk. They were committed, they were wedded to the idea that someone within the Trump administration was guilty of a crime. It was just a matter of time. And guess what? That never, ever happened, despite tons of, millions and millions of dollars spent to try to foment that. Finally, they have a guy that they can sort of looks like he will serve time. And what's so strange about this is Steve Bannon basically is doing this to himself. I mean, to tie it to your last segment, which was great about Liz Cheney, it's political theater. And in this instance, it's tragic comedy. And Steve Bannon is a clown. And he's basically going to serve time to produce a narrative that sort of is consistent with this deep state idea that will be very appealing to Trump and to his podcast.
We said at the top that this almost might be the best thing that's ever happened to Steve Bannon, because he goes from this meaningless podcast that even people far right didn't really listen to and thought was a little kooky and silly, completely ostracized by Trump world as this kind of crazy guy who has passed his prime. And now all of a sudden he's on every cable news network. Here's his reaction today.
I only have one disappointment, and that is the gutless members of that show trial committee. The J6 committee didn't have the guts to come down here and testify in open court.
Imagine that if he's locked up, there's going to be cameras trained and his visitor logs will be closely scrutinized at every moment and analyzed by CNN and MSNBC. It brings up kind of an important question, though. Where is the fairness, and what would be the equivalent, say, because there were members of the Obama administration that defied subpoenas over and over and over again from Congress, and no one seemed outraged then.
Eric Holder, the Attorney General, defied the subpoena over Fast and Furious. You look at the Steve Bannon sound right there, and you sort of answered your own question. Why does the media obsess over him? It's because he throws off great sound. I mean, it's straight out of pro wrestling. I do think, however, you heard Eli Honig on CNN say that, Mark Meadows and Dan Scavino, they also ignored the congressional subpoena, and they got a pass. It's Bannon really flouted this, right? He just literally challenged them. I mean, he showed up slovenly. He didn't even throw up a defense. He's using this purely as a platform. He's made $150 million off of Seinfeld rights. I mean, he serves 2 months in jail. He'll be fine. He'll be a hero and deified within the Trump base. And that's really his goal here, right? So yes, there is a different standard, but the different standard also applies to the way that, Bannon is just flouting the rule of law and just standard decorum.
You said 2 months, so that, he gets some kind of sentence. It's 2 years. The irony, right, that there's a guy who stabbed a U.S. congressman, or tried to, and he's out without bail tonight, and Steve Bannon faces 2 years in jail. We'll put that aside.
Which, by the way, that's the best thing that ever happened to Lee Zeldin, because there couldn't be a better illustration of the point he's trying to make, and I guarantee you he's going to go up in the polls as a result of that. That's a side note.
That is a fascinating analysis of it, which is why we have you on, who's this smart to make those kind of. Is there a liberal Steve Bannon, and would he or she be treated the same way?
Well, no. Off the top, there's no one comparable to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is the spirit animal. He is, to go Freud, he is the id of the Trump base, and there isn't something nearly as passionate on the left, which is part of the left's problem, right? That hasn't yet developed. I think you could probably say AOC probably captures the sort of the pure id of the sort of far left progressive movement. But, she's a team player. She abides by basic rules. Bannon is literally just saying, bring it on. And the way that he yells at, the media and just calls out, he's begging for attention, and it's hard not to give it to him because he's such a clown car. And
at the same time, though, isn't there a responsibility by journalists? And maybe we're doing the same thing here, but at the same time, the president of the United States has got COVID. He's speaking, and yet you're taking Steve Bannon, of all people, mouthing off on the courthouse steps and analyzing it ad nauseum.
It's absurd. And, honestly, that was great that Fox News, of all places, was taking Biden's press conference live, whereas CNN and MSNBC were, again, so wedded to see someone attached to the Trump administration, even though he hasn't been attached to it for a number of years. He's finally going to get his justice. And, it's a little pathetic, honestly. The left-leaning media are putting so much on, basically they're elevating him. To get to your point, like they are playing right into Bannon's hands. They cannot help themselves. Bannon's happy to serve time in a low security prison and, whatever, like wear an orange jumpsuit for a minute. But guess what? He's promoted. And it also fosters this narrative that there's a deep state conspiracy out to get him and their ilk. And that's not really true, but it doesn't matter. The appearance is what matters. And he's nailed that.
Yeah, and you could imagine now it's the perfect thing for President Trump to talk about on the stump, as well as the rest of his supporters, to continue. The January 6th rioters don't really make very sympathetic figures, but Steve Bannon in jail might just become one, which would be bizarre. Hey, Colby, thank you.
Leland, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you, as always. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.